So it'll be your first playing outside McHale. What do you expect?
I'm curious to see how we're gonna perform on the road, but I think it was a good test on Sunday. I think we have a lot of stuff to work on, but excited to see how we're gonna respond in a tournament with back-to-back games. So I want to see where we're at. I saw where we're at on Sunday, just as far as just handling some adversity, but being able to bounce back and find a way. But it also exposed some of our weaknesses.
And what is your schedule like this week? Because yesterday was probably an off day, so that you could get that in, and then you have to prepare and work on your defense.
Yeah, so yesterday's an off day. We're doing like some skill work today and practice. So Tuesday, Wednesday practice. Today's Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and then leave on Wednesday night. Hopefully, we're having some charter issues, but and then obviously do like a team event there, and then Thanksgiving we're going to my parents' house for Thanksgiving. So they're not cooking for so many people, but it'll be catered, and then spend some time there, and then play Friday, Saturday, and come back. So it'll be a busy week, but I think it'll be a fun week. In San Diego for Thanksgiving, what could be a better place? I'm not biased.
What's it like for you to be able to go home and spend Thanksgiving with your family?
Yeah, I think really cool. And it's funny because I hadn't even thought about that because we're so busy with the season. I forget, but really good. My grandma will be there. My obviously mom, dad, my sister, her family. I think it's cool, and I think it's cool for players to see like where you grew up, your parents, and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm excited because I haven't had a Thanksgiving at home in a long time.
What do you want to see from him this week?
I want to see improvement defensively. I want to see better one-on-one defense, less rotation, us obviously taking care of the ball better, and just a little bit more poise, like facing his own. But it's my responsibility. If we're not where we're at defensively, I take accountability in that because our problem is not scoring. We can score, and we have a lot of weapons that can score. But being able to take pride in improving defensively. Now, do we have a true defensive stopper? Not yet. But so I think it was evident the last couple of years. You had Ari, then you had Sam. Sam was a phenomenal defensive player. So I think, and then Bendu was really powerful and a good defender too. So I think figuring out that next step, who can kind of step up in that role. But I think the positive thing is you can teach defense, you can teach angles, you can get better individually, you can take a step off. But I think it's harder to teach someone to be a shooter. So the positive thing is we can score. And before, like, you can't make someone a shooter that's not. So I think good and bad, but I think we'll get better in the next month. We have to.
How's Paris?
She's good. So she's fully clear. She's good. It was funny because I just texted her a little while ago. I'm like, how are you? She's like, good. How are you? I'm like, I'm good. But she's fine. Like, she's been okay she could have played on Sunday. I think it was just taking just being more cautious because she kind of had some symptoms after a few days before, and I think just really wanted to play. So just taking more time and no rush. So she really wanted to play on Sunday. But it's like whether it's one more game, it's not. It's better to have her for long term. So she's fine. She's been in contact for like 4 days.
As far as that group of freshmen, where are you seeing them right now? Are they where you expected? What do you want to see?
I think they've done great. I think they've really played well. I think they're getting better. The hard part is, I think, just the injuries, just having people kind of in and out. They've all kind of had something except for Lamaya. So getting them to a place where we're in every day to get in shape and to get stronger and like be consistently in practice, I think will help them. But it is what it is. I think stuff's happening. It's funny though, because last year we had 15 players and it was like, oh, we have so many. Oh, so many people, it's hard to get people in practice. And like now I have 12 and now 11 because of Lauren, and I'm like, this isn't enough players. So we'll be adding Montea at Christmas or right after Christmas. So she'll help us in practice, but definitely need to probably have you need 12 healthy players. So I think probably adding another player or two, and then, maybe that 13th is a walk-on. But just to have those numbers, because it's been hard this year practicing. If we don't have enough guys show up, or if we want to use our team to get in better shape or condition, we can't. We can't play two teams. So that's been super challenging.
What's been sort of up to this point, again, it's early, but sort of something that maybe surprised you or made you really happy that like somebody picked up something really quickly, or you see something out of a freshman or a transfer that maybe you didn't quite expect them to do maybe right now, but maybe in a month from now?
I think that Lamaya's picked up our defensive terminology, and she's picked up our defense the fastest, I think, out of the freshmen. And I think, she's a really good athlete. She's long, so I think she's done a great job of learning stuff and learning multiple positions, which is hard as a freshman. I think Maya's done a really good job in spurts, just getting her healthy and getting her in shape. It just takes time because she was out for so long, like off and on for a long time. And then Kaylin's learning. I think, all of us can get conditioned better, but we're not going to peak it in November. But Kaylin, I think just her ability to score has been because she's not big, but she just finds a way to create space, and I think just is a really good scorer. So teaching her, especially when you're at the point guard, you really got to set people up, and, it's not like high school. You can't just score, but your scoring is what we want and we love, but just the timing of it. And I think she's done a great job. I think if you saw that pass she made to Shayna in the game, she probably wouldn't have made that pass or had the mentality to make that pass. But those are habits from high school. And Paris, I think, just shows us glimpses of just how good she can be. And it's just now getting her to be where she's, in practice every day. So with the freshmen, that's kind of been a challenge. Kaylin a little bit less, but getting Maya and Paris to a place where they're practicing every day in the rotation, in the swing of things, is just important. Because if you don't practice, it's hard to go and play a lot of minutes.
When you look at the Pac-12, you guys started with just 3 ranked teams, and now there's 5.
That's how it always is. You always overlook the Pac-12 until things happen. It's always like that.
Have you been able to pay much attention to what's going on, or are you just too busy?
I've been busy. A little bit. I think, I know that Bahamas tournament, the games have been good. I think we've been surprised nationally at some of the big upsets. But I have followed, but not that closely, because I'm trying to worry about us, and we have a lot of work to do. So I'm we got to worry about our team right now, and then we're going on the road, and then we're coming back playing some good teams. So I'm just really narrowed my focus to us right now.
Be away for 3 games. What do you hope by the time you come back and face Kansas?
I hope we're a lot better. We will be a lot better, just better individually, one-on-one defensively, attacking the zone better, which now we're just going to work more against the zone, obviously, because we can shoot it. It's just getting in rhythm, and when we play 4 guards, just how we're going to attack. I'd say just, taking care of the ball better, so going back to some basic fundamentals. I think there's some basic fundamentals, because right now we're rotating high level. Pretty much we have some great signs of rotation, but we're missing the basics of contesting shots. We're missing the basics of hands down on defense, of our feet just the wrong placing and allowing certain positions that we don't really want. So that tells me that our fundamentals from the foundation aren't strong right now. So we're going back to some fundamentals of our defense, and that'll start today. So you'll see an improvement by the time we come back to a home game. You will.
And how are you preparing the freshmen who've never been on a trip to go on this trip, and then, like she said, in the 3rd game?
We haven't. I totally forgot it was 3 in a row, but we haven't really talked a whole lot about it yet. I think just tomorrow, just the standards of going on the road, and just what we do, how we do it. And I think that's important. We'll meet about that. And just they won't really understand until we go. But it's funny because a lot of them have never been to California. So Kaylin, Paris, Lamaya, they're East Coast, so they've never been. So I'm you've never been to California? To me, that's weird. But I guess a lot of Californians have never been to New York. So I think they're going to love it and just kind of see different parts of the world, be exposed to different things. I think they're going to see it's different than AAU. There isn't 5 people to a room. And just what we do. So I think it's going to be a fun experience for them. I'm excited. I think they're excited to travel. So I'm pretty sure one of them will forget something. Pretty sure. I'm going to guess. I probably know which one, but I'm not going to say. But probably. So we're going to have to check some things a couple times, because they are freshmen.
I noticed that, Maya had the food drive, and then last night, her and Kaylin went out and served Thanksgiving dinner at the Boys and Girls Club. For you, what's that like, having players who just initiate that on their own, because you do that as a team, and that's so important for you? So what's that like to have them just stand up and do that?
It's great. So it was with a friend of mine, and so I was actually supposed to be there, but my golf cart died and I got stuck yesterday. So, anyways, long story, which you probably don't want to hear about. But for people in the city, probably saw me stuck. But I think it's amazing. Maya she's selfless, and she has so many like aspirations to change so many things and give back. And for her, it's not about NIL money; it's about like giving stuff to the community. So that's one of the ways she wants to do it. So when my friend Danielle, she's actually a former basketball player here, when she helped her with the food drive, it was last second. So she texted me they had 648 pounds of food, and that was just only a few days before. So I think it's just big that she's even thinking about that on her only day off. We hadn't had a day off in a while because of how our game schedules were. So just the fact that she's spending her off time, and then a teammate, and those are 2 freshmen. So when you have freshmen doing that, I think it's amazing. And that's not for community service. That is like their own time. And at a time when there's a lot of schoolwork and we're getting ready to travel. So it says a lot about those 2 and who they are and what they want to do. And I think the city and the community should be really proud of them because that's not something they have to do. So I'm proud of them. I love it.
You talked about playing against the zone. In the past, people zoned you because you couldn't shoot.
Yeah.
And now there's still issues with the passing.
Yeah.
So what do you have to do to get them there?
Work against it more. So I think we just hadn't worked against it really. And then the guys zone, our practice players don't really know how to play zone. So we're going to work on it, and we're going to probably work on us playing zone. And that's been the challenge about the amount of players, because ideally, if you have 2 teams, then one team can be working on it, and then you're vice versa. Then you're at least working on it 2-3 also. So I think just practicing against it more and just getting confidence in it. When we hadn't faced it a lot, it's hard to be confident in it. But there's a lot of stuff to do with so many new players. So that's kind of been the challenge of where we're at. And then having so many people out, like the first couple months, as Mary was out, the COVID, and Lauren, then the finger. And so there were so many people. So to have us all together for a month would be amazing. And that hasn't been the case. So I think we're just a little bit behind in that case. But then I look back and when you're really critical, like I'm really critical about the games and like, oh, what we're doing. But then I look back and I'll watch like film from last year or our Final Four year. At this time, we're better now defensively than we were at that time. And we had better athletes and we had a better defensive team. So given that, and then we weren't as good of a scoring team. So given that, I'm optimistic about the fact that we're going to work and get better. But I think it's also, with new players and freshmen, it's the buy-in to want to play good defense also. So that's going to change too. And we're going to find people that have that because everybody wants to score. And so many players, their identity and their mentality is focused on scoring. And that's not a good indication of a great player. I think you can score, but like Helena can sometimes have 4 points, 6 assists, and be rated like 27 or 37, plus minus. That's still an effective player. So I think not putting so much stock in like you have to score. Because if you shoot 12 times for 12 points, that's not an efficient player. So I think just doing other things and worrying about the team and I guess a little bit more selfless is our mentality. Because everybody wants to do well. It's not a selfish thing. They want to do well, score, and get into it. But we're going to win if everybody's doing the right thing. And we have enough to have 5 people in double digits. So just I think understanding that mentality and just wanting to get better defensively.
So there were a lot of big upsets, especially in the top 10 teams this past week or so. There's so much talk about what's going on and everything. What do you think plays into that? Because it seems to be more, I think there was a stat that it's more in than, 5-10 years that this has happened.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I think it's right now, if I look at Louisville, it was kind of like us a couple years ago. After you've went to a Final Four, or you've been really successful, your team changes because you lose players, and then everybody's gunning for you. I think that's hard. And I think this time of year, no one's where they want to be. We're not, probably South Carolina isn't, Stanford isn't. All of us improve a lot throughout the year. So when you face a team that's really hungry and on the wrong night and they're hot, I think there's upsets. Why there's more? I think our game has more parity. I don't think you see all the great players go into one place. I think it's really spread out. So I think you're going to see more of that, which I like for our game. And I think that sometimes the media really puts some high expectations on people that I don't think are really accurate early, and I think it's hard to tell. And I think you just sometimes go by names and the brand of a school, and you rank someone, and it's not the best indication. So, like we're one of those teams that always climbs up. We're like that Final Four year we were started at 20. Last year we started wouldn't go to 5. But I don't really care during the year. I wouldn't care for 20 the whole year. Then at the end you're ranked higher. So I think us getting good wins and improving, but none of us are where we want to be. If you talk to any of the coaches, we're all like, oh, all of us think we stink right now, and just but you got to find a way to get better. So, and then injuries, but I don't think injuries have been factored that much in these losses. So, and then playing on neutral court, in those tournaments are hard. I remember even us in St. Thomas, those are hard back-to-back games against good teams. You haven't done that. You're with a new team. We have 7 new players. I don't know how we're going to be on the road. I don't know. I know that what I can control, but I don't know. Are we going to be a disaster? Are we going to be distracted? There's so many things you don't know. And we played at Long Beach State, they had 10 new players, and they're good. I think Jeff's done a really good job. I think they're going to be good. I think they'll surprise people, but if we hadn't played that type of defense, we hadn't been zoned for 40 minutes. So it's a lot of first and new things. So we'll improve for sure. Okay, cool. Thanks.